What's up, guys? So today we are covering Google Dorking. So if you're not familiar with Google Dorking, we're going to cover it. We're going to explain it because it sounds crazy, right? The name alone is kind of weird and no one knows what it means. And I'm sure we could figure it out. We could Google it, but that's the point of today, right? So first off, I want to say thanks, guys. If you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you like and subscribe. Comment below. Let me know if you guys have done any Google Dorking, if you have any good Google Dorks that you want to share, because there's some really good ones out there. Also, if you guys are looking at kind of what can you do with Google Dorking, the Patreon this week, so I'm going to do the Google Dorking, what it is, that type of thing. And then on Patreon, I'm going to show you guys kind of how to take it a step further and what you can do with that, with the actual Google Dorking and the content you get from it. So let's go ahead and get right down to it, guys. I appreciate all the support. We're doing great. We're building at 500 subs. We're giving away a keylogger, and we're almost there. So I really appreciate it, guys. All right. So what is Google Dorking? So Google Dorking is basically searching the internet for very specific things. So what does that mean? It means if I wanted to search for Adobe.com, right? Here's Adobe.com. Now, the reason I'm going to use Adobe, guys, is just because they have a bug bounty program, so they authorize permission to basically look for bugs. So here we go. So we have Adobe.com, but what if we want to get very specific with these searches? What if we want more than just Adobe.com, right? So we click on Adobe, and let's find a site that we want to look for. So let's go to Help and Support, Help Center. Let's just go to Help Center. Okay, so they have a support.html. So let's go ahead and remember that. And let's go back to Google. So now, you notice if we search adobe.com, first thing we get is adobe.com here. First thing we get is an ad, which we don't care about. And then we have adobe.com. And then we get Google Play, LinkedIn, Wikipedia, Adobe.io, Chrome. So we're really not getting very many actual Adobe.com links here. So that's kind of what we need to fix, you know? We need to get very specific with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to say we want the site to be Adobe.com. And what this means is, that it will only return results from Adobe.com. Not things that contain Adobe, not things that have the name in it, the keyword, the filter, you know, it's just going to give us Adobe.com results. Now, the other thing we can do, because we're looking for the support website, we can say in URL, so in the actual URL, if you remember it said support.html, we want it to set or to have support in the URL. Okay? Now, if we hit enter, you can see right there the first thing we get is the Adobe Support Help Center. That's the same link that we just looked for, exactly. And that's the first result. So that's huge because that tells us we can get very specific and get exactly what we want from the internet. Now, what people don't realize is there's so much more to the internet than simply the sites that you go to. So when you go to a site, it might reach out to 50 different sites, pulling images, videos, you know, all that stuff, databases, all kinds of information, and displaying it for you. But what if we want to pull that stuff ourselves so that we can parse through it and look at it, right? So that's kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to get stuff that wouldn't normally be on the front page of the internet, that people aren't going to normally find. Now, I will tell you guys, if you guys go to ExploitDB, they have Google Hacking Database on there. It's got thousands of Google Dorks, meaning thousands of things that people have put into here to find interesting information. And we're going to cover some of those, but we're also going to then go in there and I'll show you one of them. So let's go ahead and pull that up. All right, so here's the Google Hacking Database. It's on ExploitDB. And you can see I typed in cam because I want to show cameras. What if we want to look into cameras, right? Well, this is scary because what a lot of people do is they do what we call IP cameras, meaning they think it's secure because they have to type in a special IP and then go to it. Well, let's see if it is secure. So here, this is the one we're going to use, Yaw Cam. It's a webcam. So that I can explain it. The reason I chose this one is because it's got a few more things in there. Some of these are pretty much exactly what you'd think. Webcam XP is a XP webcam, and then there's the port, right? So I wanted to show how you can kind of narrow down your search a little bit. So let's go ahead and paste it. Now, before we hit enter, let's look at this. So in the title, it needs to say yaw cam, it's a webcam, and maybe user and pass. Okay. So why would they put it's a webcam? Why does that matter to us, right? So let's hit enter. Okay, so we have some. Now here's the interesting thing. You can see that their IP address is not, okay, so there's one with a name, but they don't have names. So if you guys know how the internet works, you know that if you go to facebook.com, you just type in facebook.com. You don't type in, an actual IP address. Well, what's happening is DNS is Google's, is what most people uses. Google will tell you, hey, facebook.com's at this IP address. Google is basically your GPS for the internet. So when that happens, you type in facebook.com, it auto tells your computer, hey, Facebook's over here at this address, the IP address, and it takes you there. So you never have to memorize those IP addresses, because imagine if you had to memorize an IP address to get to the website, you would never find half the stuff you're looking for. So what people do is they get these IP services where, okay, it'll host the webcam here at this IP address for you, so you can just, if you have that saved on your phone or whatever, you can pull it up and look anytime you want. Well, that's great. And a lot of people think, oh, well, then you can't find it because you have to have that number. Well, you can find it. Clearly, we found it right here. So let's go ahead and click on one and see what we get. Okay, that's creepy. That is a bedroom, and I think someone moved there, so I'm getting out of that one. All right, so here's a good one. So this is someone's outdoor webcam. Now, from the looks of it, you kind of think, yeah, that's kind of creepy, I guess, because it's showing outside my house, but it's just outside my house, so we should be fine, right? No. The problem is, if you also watch some of my other videos, we just did a box on Try Hack Me that was image intelligence. So I could take this video, and especially since it's live, I could wait a while, and maybe when they pull out, I could see their license plate. When someone drives by, I could try to get a glimpse of what's going on. I could look at the trees. I could figure a lot out from these videos. So, I could probably find exactly where this is at eventually. So that's scary, right? So, okay, so we know that we can look at webcams, but that doesn't do much use for us unless we know exactly what we're looking for. The problem is when you start diving into this, when you're doing this intelligence for a company, for instance, you have a pen test or something like that, you can really find stuff that they don't realize is public facing, meaning it's out there for the internet to see. So for instance, let's go to site, and we'll say Adobe, because again, we're using Adobe, and we're going to say in the URL, we want console. Now, the reason you do console is because a lot of consoles have logins. So for instance, if I wanted to use your admin login or your admin page for your website, if I find it, well, I didn't have to scan your computer. I didn't have to scan your network. I didn't have to do anything. So I didn't touch anything on your system. So you don't realize that I now know where your admin login page is. And if you guys know how websites usually work, usually the admin login page is not accessible from the main page. It's usually on a different port or something like that. So let's go ahead and hit this. Okay, so we got nothing in the URL. And that's because the site is Adobe. We need adobe.com. Okay. So now you see, obviously we get some pictures of some video game consoles, whatever. But here you go. So first thing that pops up is Adobe Developer Console. Now, if you're a developer, you may know that exists. If you're not, you may not. So if I'm trying to get into your site or trying to get into your company, right? Well, now I have another attack vector that I didn't even know existed until now. So yes, I could have probably traversed around and found out that you have a developer console, but now I know without 10 seconds of a search, rather than before I'd have to find it on your site. So let's go ahead and do this. What if we did in the title of the website, right? We did just a asterisk, which stands for wildcard, admin. And so what this is saying anything with before or after, as long as the admin's inside that, then text, right? And we have to put quotations because we did all the special characters. But if we do this, what it's going to look for is anything with admin in it that's a text file anywhere. So we hit enter. Okay. So look, admin pass default. Let's click on it. Okay. So this is whatever this is. Rename this file to password.txt. Okay, interesting. So admin password text, da da da. So you can see here that there's a ton of results actually, but you can see one of them is GitHub, da da da, admin, that's GitHub. But you can see that you can start to look for, like, let's see if we type Adobe, which I don't think Adobe will have it, but okay, so they didn't have any. That's good. But what if we searched for Untitled and we just said admin, not the .text? Okay, well, look at that. There's the admin console right there, or at least the help center for the admin console. So what that tells us is we're starting to find things that we wouldn't normally find. So now we can start trying to log into the admin console, things like that. So now, what if we just say we want, site, and we're just going to say asterisk because we don't really care about what site it is, but we want it to be admin portal, right? So this will look at all the sites and tell me which ones have an admin portal. Okay, so this will pop up. It's because of what we're doing. We're Google Dorking, and Google's saying, hey, this is weird. People don't normally search this way. Are you real, or are you someone that is automated this to just keep searching for stuff until you find something? All right, so now Remnant House Security, or CES, remnanthousesc.org, I'm sorry. There's their admin portal. Okay, so that's interesting. CTC Business, there's their admin portal. Aware3, there's your admin portal, right? So then if I search by site, I could probably find it if they have one. Now, this tells me I didn't have to do any type of scanning, meaning I didn't have to touch your network. So that keeps my IP address away from you, but I get your admin portal. That's alarming, right? Now, obviously, I'm not going to click on these because I don't have, I'm not going to ever try to log into these people. You can look at it. It's a public site. That one's down, apparently. But you can see admin portal. Okay. If it loads. Admin portal, okay. Sign in, perfect. So the point is you can now start seeing how this can become dangerous because you can get a lot of information. Now, let me show you what happens if you search for some interesting ones, right? So if we say site, Adobe.com again, and then we say in the text of the site, so in the text, we want to find forgotten password. Now, some of you might say, why do you care about forgotten password? Because it's not going to give us the password, right? But what if I want to know, I need to know the procedures of what they do when someone forgets a password. Because what if I'm doing a social engineering attack and I want to call one of their employees and say, hey, this is John over at the help desk. You forgot your password. Here's our policy on it. And I can read you the policy word for word. So if you're familiar with it, you now will believe me. So right there, reset or change your password. And this is the exact reset of the password. And then Experience League reference, this is a document. So lost and forgotten password documents. So you can see, if you think like a hacker, if you think like a social engineer, you understand how some of this can become useful, because if I can find your policies, I can now mimic those policies back to you and trick you because you think I'm legit because I know stuff about your internal company that I shouldn't, right? So that's dangerous. Now here's some of the fun ones that let's see. We'll do one of the fun ones that. So this is the Google hacking database. We'll get rid of the cam and I'll show you guys where some of this gets dangerous, but some of it's fun. So for instance, any of these Pastebin ones, if you guys aren't familiar with Pastebin is a site that allows you to basically share information, right? So let's go ahead and copy one of these. So for instance, pastebin.com. So pastebin.com is a way to copy paste, but then you can tell your friend, hey, go to this link and you can see the information I just sent you, right? So let's go to pastebin.com, but we're looking for admin password. Okay, so we have admin password for website, pastebin.com. Okay, so here is a website, and there's the password. Now, I'm obviously not going to go to that website. I'm just showing you. But yeah, then you have, let's go to some of these other ones. That was the same one, wasn't it? Yep. So guest users. So you can see, here's a website, and there's their admin passwords for all these websites. Now, those are left at default, and they might not be like work anymore, but they're legit. So let's get rid of the admin and just go to password. Okay, so now we have, oh no. So now we have basically a password leak, meaning someone's given up this information. Now they've shared it. Now, why would they share it, right? A lot of people might wonder, why would someone share this? Well, if you're trying to stay, if you're a hacker and you take these passwords from somewhere, a leak, a database, you're an insider threat, any of this stuff, and you're trying to share it to the internet, you're not going to use a login that you have, right? If you're trying to sell it to someone, you might on the dark web sell it, but you might be like, oh, that could be traced to me. You know, if you upload it to an anonymous site like Pastebin, you could get away with it if you do it correctly, right? So what I mean by that is you might tell someone on the dark web, hey, I'll sell it to you. You give me the crypto, right? And we'll do it anonymously, meaning we're using fake everything. And then I will anonymously post this somewhere. And if you happen to find it, there you go. Okay, so that's kind of the way that it makes sense. So there's a lot of these passwords are on Pastebin. So that's scary, right? That's some of the stuff that you can really do with Google Dorking, because all I did was change the site and look at password. So now if I did this to our site, adobe.com, and just looked for password, you can see we're not going to get a bunch because Adobe is a fairly reputable large company, right? That has probably a pretty decent security team that is kind of covering their tracks in a sense, right? They're looking for this stuff. But if you're doing a pen test for a medium-sized company, who knows if someone accidentally published a password file or something like that, you know, maybe they shouldn't have, maybe they didn't want to. So yeah, there's a lot of this stuff where you've got to be careful. Google Dorking can get very specific. So I could say adobe.com, and then I could say file type, and let's say I want PDFs. And then, okay, now I'm seeing all the PDFs published on their site. So again, this is where I could look for policies that they publish for their employees, and I could start to put together what their network looks like, because it's all public information, right? So this is a form of OSINT. I think you guys can really mess with it, have fun with it. One thing I'll tell you is be careful, because yes, it's public information, but if you take it a step further, you now are doing stuff illegal. So if you take those passwords and log into their accounts, that's illegal, right? Now, there are gray areas, but I'm just telling you, be careful. Understand what Google Dorking is, what it can bring, and understand, look how easy it actually is once you start doing it. It sounds hard, but it's not. So start messing with it. Start trying to find different information from different sites and things like that. And just start looking at different Google Dorking techniques. So there's websites out there that'll teach you Google Dorking. There's obviously ExploitDB will show you some that people have created in the past. But yeah, just start looking around, having fun. Comment below your favorite Google Dork, because I'm genuinely curious, because I notice so many people have different goals with Google Dorking that this isn't just a hacker's tool, and there's a ton of fun stuff out there. So comment your favorite Google Dork. Let me know what you guys think. And if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe and like. We're going to keep going with this train. We're trying to reach 1,000 so we can start having people join the channel and things like that. So I appreciate you guys, and you guys have a good one.